Hello, members, and welcome to the full council meeting held today. As per normal, I'm going to pass on to John now to take us through the agenda of Agenda 1 and Agenda 2. John?
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, members. To all members of Derry City and Strabane District Council, you're here summoned.
No, I'm going to propose that.
Sorry, are we okay, members, just for me to proceed here? You're hereby summoned to attend the monthly meeting of Derry City and Strabane District Council to be held remotely Thursday, the 24th of February at 4 o'clock, starting with the roll call. Alderman Bresland.
Here, John.
Alderman Devaney.
Here.
Alderman Guy.
Here, John.
Alderman Hussey.
Online.
Alderman Carrigan.
John.
Alderman McClintock.
Here, John.
Alderman McCready. Alderman McCready. Alderman Ramsey.
You should be on later, John.
Thank you. Alderman Wark.
Here, John.
Councillor Jason Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Raymond Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor John Boyle.
Good afternoon. Here.
Councillor Michaela Boyle.
Sure, John.
Councillor Carr. Councillor Carr. Councillor Cusack.
Here, John.
Councillor Dobbins.
Here, John.
Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Doyle. Councillor Doyle. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Edwards.
Here, John.
Councillor Farrell.
Here.
Councillor Ferguson.
Here, John.
Councillor Fleming.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor Gallagher.
Shaw, John.
Councillor Harkin.
Here.
Councillor Heaney.
Shaw, John.
And Councillor Jackson.
Sure, John.
Councillor Kelly. Councillor Kelly. Councillor Logue.
Sure, John.
Councillor McGinley.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor McGowan.
And Shaw, John.
Councillor McGuire.
Shaw, John.
Councillor McHugh.
Shaw, John.
Councillor McKeever. Councillor McKeever. Councillor McKinney.
Here, John.
Councillor Mooney.
Here, John.
Councillor O'Neill.
Here.
Councillor Riley.
Here.
Councillor Senoy Barr.
Here, John.
Councillor Tierney.
Here, John.
Thanks, members. And just checking back over a few members. Alderman McCready. Alderman Ramsey.
Ryan's going to try and get on eventually. He's just having a bit of bother there.
Thank you. Councillor Carr. Councillor Donnelly.
Shaw, John.
Thank you. Councillor Doyle. Councillor Duffy. I think if they've seen you come in there in the
Sure,
chat
yeah.
box, thank you. And Councillor Kelly
And Shaw, John.
and Councillor McKeever. Okay, thank you, members. Back to you, Mayor. Thank you.
Alderman Ramsey, sorry.
Thank you, Alderman Ramsey.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, members. Thank you, John. Okay, members, moving on to agenda free statement of remote meetings. I'd like to remind everyone in remote attendance that this meeting will be broadcast live via the council YouTube channels and will be available for viewing for the public and media. The broadcast will be available for repeated viewing on a later date. This broadcast may be terminate or suspend in accordance with council protocol, and members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and use chat facilities to highlight the request to speak. By participating in this meeting, you're consenting to being filmed and to be used as storage in those images, broadcast or training purposes, and the purpose of keeping historic records and making those records available to the public. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found on the council webpage. Members, agenda 4, declaration of members' interest. Declarations of member interest can be raised now or put into the chat box throughout the meeting.
I have one declaration, Mayor.
Yeah.
Councillor McKenna.
Go ahead, Councillor McKenna.
I believe it's Councillor Donnelly's. Yeah, Councillor Donnelly's motion, declaring interest.
Okay, that's been noted. Thank you for that, Councillor McKenna.
Mayor, I had the same as well. Sean Money here.
Thank you, Councillor Minnight. They've been noted. Okay, member.
Mayor, I'd just like to declare an interest as a founder member of Stalford Athletic Football Club in relation to an amendment I'm bringing on tonight.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Barr.
Thank you, Mayor.
Who's that, members?
Councillor Tierney, declaration of interest, Councillor Donnelly's motion as a member of the local commissioning group for the Western Health and Social Care Trust. Thank you.
Okay, members, is that everyone? Thank you, members. They have all been noted. Okay, members, moving on to agenda 5, chairperson's business. I have a couple of items here, and as Mayor of Derry City and Strabane District Council, it gives me it's deeply saddened to learn of the sudden passing of my party colleague, Christopher Stalford MLA. A committed public servant and a family man, and my thoughts and prayers are with Laura and the 4 children. Alderman McClintock.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for allowing me to come in on this. I suppose it's an understatement to say that this has been a very, very sad week for the DUP family. It has been a devastating week as we mourn the passing of Christopher Stalford. The passing too early at the age of 39 years. Christopher was, amongst other things, a Belfast City Councillor, a High Sheriff, a Deputy Mayor, an MLA, and the Principal Deputy Speaker at the Northern Ireland Assembly. He lived for politics. He loved the debate. He loved the cut and thrust of political life. He was so articulate. He had such an analytical mind. He was a master of the put down, and often that was at his own DUP colleagues' expense. He was a man with a cheeky sense of humour, maybe not always expected from the image of the man that we saw wearing the suit. The man who came from a working class family, growing up in a flat in Annandale. The only love that Christopher had that was greater than his love of politics was his love for his family. His mother, Karen, who lost her own husband, Christopher's father, when Christopher was only 7 years old. His adored wife, Laura, and his young family, Trinity, Cameron, Oliver, and Abigail. His eldest child just due to move from primary school to secondary school this year. We can't fail to be moved by the scenes we've seen of Christopher this week, sitting in his Stormont office, watching Peppa Pig with one of his children on his knee and wondering who was going to laugh the loudest. So to Christopher's family, we would like to send our deepest condolences in the very difficult days that inevitably lie ahead for them. And to all of the colleagues who would have been with him on a daily basis and who will miss him so much. Christopher, Northern Ireland has lost a great advocate. We are all the poorer at Christopher's passing. We don't understand why some are called so soon, and maybe in the fullness of time that will be revealed to us. And Mayor, if I could just say in conclusion,
Sorry, Alderman McClintock. Alderman Hosty, could you put your mic on mute there, please? Thank you. Sorry, continue, Alderman McClintock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just in conclusion, I just want to say that we have been touched this week by the amazing tributes from people not aligned to the DUP, and we thank them all for that. I think that's the measure of the man that Christopher Stalford was, and the esteem and respect that he was held in by so many people that he touched during his short life. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Alderman McClintock. Councillor Senior Barr.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in there. On behalf of myself and the SDLP, I want to offer our deepest sympathies to Christopher's family and friends, and to you and your colleagues in the DUP. I was incredibly shocked and saddened to hear of the sudden death of Christopher. His death has impacted many across the country, and I hope his family are comforted by all the stories and tributes they have had over the past few days. I met Christopher first in 2020, and we spoke a lot about the racial equality strategy and exchanged a lot of emails on the subject. While we both come from completely different backgrounds and different political views, Christopher had a genuine interest in racial equality and tackling these issues around as an elected representative of a very diverse area of South Belfast. He was known not only among his own party, but across the board, including among the ethnic minority sector. In fact, Christopher was a long-serving member of the Assembly's all-party group on ethnic minority community. His loss is felt deeply by everyone. I want to extend my deepest condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues. While his impact will be felt in his political life, the personal loss will be a very heavy burden for his family. I hope his family will grow up to know their father was a man respected by so many, and that he has left a legacy in this country of cooperation that they can be proud of. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor. And just like previous speakers, I want to offer Sinn Féin's sincerest condolences to Christopher's wife, his 4 children, and the wider DUP family. While I didn't know Christopher, I've never met him, nor did I agree with many of his political views. It was evident that he was a political animal and was very well thought of by his colleagues in the Assembly and by those in his constituency. I watched Christopher last week on the Spotlight special, where he did speak about his child transference schools, and he did come across very much as a proud father. So I was really sorry to hear of his sudden passing at the weekend, and I just want to extend our condolences to you all at this tragic time. And it must be a very difficult time for the DUP at this point. So I just want to put on record Sinn Féin's condolences to you all, and particularly Laura and his 4 children. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Duffy. Alderman Guy.
Thank you, Mayor. Obviously, I was shocked to hear of the passing of Christopher Stalford early on Sunday morning. Just as every other politician was shocked, just as every other person in normal life was shocked. Someone so young, his wife and his young family, now you have to pick up the pieces. But on behalf of the Ulster Union, I didn't know Christopher, but on behalf of the Ulster Unionist Party, I'd like to pass on the condolences to his wife, Laura, and their 4 young children, his friends, family, and of course his colleagues within the DUP. I know it hasn't been easy for you this week. So condolences. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Guy. Councillor Ferguson.
I think, Mayor, I'm speaking on behalf of Councillor Ferguson, Councillor McKinney.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, Christopher was raised in the same working class estate as I, which was Annandale and Ballinafie. I would just like to offer the Alliance Party's condolences to Christopher and the DUP family. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor McKinney. Councillor Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. I would also just like to offer my sincere condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of the late Christopher Stalford. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And finally, Councillor Hargan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I didn't know Mr. Stalford and probably didn't share a lot in common politically, but we want to add our sincere condolences to his family and friends on his sudden passing. It was obviously a huge shock and an awful tragedy, and we add our voice to those condolences. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. And I see John here's recorded Alderman McClantic and Councillor Doyle on the attendance. So remember, final chairperson's business being come.
Chair, Councillor Donnelly, I put my name down there. I was having to, but just look, can I be associated with?
Apologies, yeah, go ahead, Councillor Donnelly.
Yeah, can send sympathy to the family of deceased member, Chair. Just I'm in a bad area here, but just want to be associated with the remarks. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Donnelly. Okay, members, moving on to the second part of chairperson's business, and I've been contacted by a lot of members here on this issue, and I think it's well known what's happening in Ukraine at the minute, and I'm going to open up the floor to members, and our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Ukraine at this moment. So, members, Alderman McClintock.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in. I think
Well,
we're all horrified at what has unfolded in Ukraine in the last 24 hours. We probably all saw it coming, but I suppose we hope that it might be avoided, even at the last minute. I've read a message just today from a Northern Ireland couple, Timothy and Rhoda Sloan, who serve in a church in the Ukraine, and they sent a message just as they realised that war was imminent. They talked about the state of emergency, which would be followed by martial law, and they tell of the young Ukrainian men from 16 years of age who have been called up now to defend their country. And as they messaged, a major cyber attack was happening. And this family, like so many others, I am sure, they bought generators, fuel, food, not only for themselves, but to help others within their community. It seems that Russia and President Putin in particular doesn't care how many innocent men, women and children will be lost in this conflict. The man is a tyrant, an autocratic tyrant. He feels he can invade a sovereign nation that poses no threat to him, and he thinks he can threaten other countries with his comments like consequences they have never seen. This is an appalling attack. It is unjustified. The Ukrainian state is no threat to Russia, and it is only in the twisted mind of Vladimir Putin, who seems to be increasingly making decisions on his own, that there is any justification for this vile act. So it is our hope that the rest of the civilized world stand together against the Russian actions at this time. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Alderman McClintock. Councillor Donnelly.
Chair, and people of the world should stand together against war rather than picking sides. But Chair, I do feel, my thoughts are with the people in Ukraine, and unfortunately, in these type of wars, Chair, the people who die are working class people and a lot of civilians. But I do feel compelled to point out the hypocrisy and double standards emanating from a lot of people, particularly the governments of Britain and the United States. For them to condemn anybody for violating sovereignty has to be treated with scorn and derision by right-thinking people. These imperialist administrations, they've invaded and occupied and destroyed countries right up to the present day. Look at Iraq, Libya, Afghanistan. They're still smouldering ruins and sites of mass graves because of violations of sovereignty. If it could be said that they showed the way for Vladimir Putin, and indeed they led by example, the reasons Putin gave for invading Ukrainian territory are a carbon copy of the US and British attempts to justify their invasions. And Irish people will look with incredulity at Boris Johnson's pathetic attempt to champion sovereignty whilst this government flouts it here. The US backing of Israel as they blatantly contravene United Nations resolutions have rendered the UN a toothless tiger, and it is against this background that Putin feels that he can act with impunity. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Seaman Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure I speak for all members of this council when I say that today's event in Ukraine are deeply, deeply worrying. The violation of a sovereign European democracy must be condemned in the strongest possible terms. The Russian government military aggression requires immediate and far-reaching sanctions from the international community, not just words. My thoughts and those of my party colleagues are especially with the Ukrainian people, including those living in the city and district and elsewhere across the island of Ireland, for whom this is a very worrying time. I spent a significant part of this morning conversing with the Ukrainian families who are part of the Northwest Migrants Forum where I work, and as well as Russian families settled here who are also troubled by the Putin's actions. I've been heartened by the clarity of my party leader's response to the invasion of Ukraine. And as Kola Mistud has said, there is no way to justify what has happened or equivocate it on it. My party leader has also pointed out that the British government's response to the Ukrainian invasion must include dismantling the influence and power of money and political donations of individuals close to the Russian state. I would ask Council to consider how it can best respond to today's invasion, whether it is by expressing solidarity with the Ukrainian people, extending the hand of friendship and support to Ukrainian living locally, being prepared to welcome anyone now needing to flee from Ukraine, or calling on the Executive Office, the British and Irish government to show firm resolve. I think we must take action also to send a strong message to the Ukrainian government that we support them and that we stand with them. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that. Councillor Hargan?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to this issue, because it is a very important issue. It is a threat to all of us, and I think the scenario of a major war in Ukraine that impacts people right across Europe and globally is something that we should be discussing. And I want to commend, first of all, those in the anti-war movement here in Ireland, in Europe, in the United States, who have been campaigning against war in Ukraine and who are organising protests as we speak. There's a protest today at the Dáil opposing war in the Ukraine, and there's going to be one here in Derry on Saturday at 2 o'clock at the Diamond War Memorial. And I want to encourage us as a council to endorse that, support it, and encourage members to attend as well. It's very clear that Russia's invasion into Ukraine is completely uncalled for. The people who will lose out are ordinary people in Ukraine, and I think we have to stand in full solidarity with them. There's people in Russia, a majority, who oppose this war and who don't want a war with their Ukrainian neighbours. So I think, first of all, our support, our sincere support and solidarity has to go to the people in Ukraine who are going to be on the receiving end of military aggression. I think we have to call loudly for Putin and the Russian government to step back, to de-escalate, to withdraw their troops, and not to escalate tensions and war into something where, thousands, if not tens of thousands of people could die, many of them innocent, and where major destruction could happen across the Ukraine. I also want to say, though, that there is a tremendous amount of hypocrisy here, especially from the British government, especially from the US government, and from the European Union and NATO leaders, who are responsible for carnage and mass death in Iraq and Afghanistan. And when they now talk about their support for democracy, for self-determination, and for peace, most people can see right through this utter hypocrisy. So I know I'm fed up listening to spin doctors who only want to condemn Russia, but have been responsible for the same kind of crimes against humanity themselves. And I want to say as well, where have the calls for sanctions been when the Israeli war machine has been murdering Palestinians? Where's the call for sanctions on Saudi Arabia when they're backing up and murdering innocent Yemenis? It hasn't been there. And so the urgency from some even in this chamber for action in Russia, where has it been when it's come to Palestine and other places? I think we have to call for an end of NATO expansion, and NATO expansion is one of the drivers of this conflict. There's no doubt about it. Commitments that NATO made not to militarily expand and ratchet up tension have been ripped apart. So I think we have to call both for an end to the Russian invasion, but we also have to call for an end to NATO expansion. And our first message is one of solidarity to the people in Ukraine. And I want to put that in as a proposal that we back the Derry Anti-War Coalition protest this Saturday. Thank you, Mayor.
Have you a seconder for that?
I'm happy to second it.
That's Councillor O'Neill. Okay, members, we have a proposal on the table. Could you put that on the chat box? Okay, member, until Councillor Hargan puts that on the chat box, does any further member want to come on that proposal? Okay, members, there's a proposal there. Am I hearing any dissenting voices on us? Anybody wishing to go against the proposal or abstaining? Could you let me know now? Okay, members, the proposal passes. Moving on to chairperson's business, Alderman McCready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just on the issue of the Russian invasion into Ukraine, there's no real excuse for it, but this war has started a long time ago in 2014 in the Maidan revolution in the city center of Kiev in Ukraine in response to Russian aggression in their government and trying to control the people. The people stood up against them then, and I've got no doubt those same people are going to stand up against them now to try and fight off and repel this rebellion, or as a rebellion. Because I've been to Ukraine. I've made no secrets about this, Mr. Mayor, for full transparency. I spent almost a year training, supporting, mentoring, and working alongside our Ukrainian brothers and sisters in arms and from all sectors of the military. And it was an absolute pleasure and a privilege. And now to sit here as we discuss and the events which are unfolding in front of the whole world to watch, almost helplessly, because no one's going to react in response to this. You can call for a march here in the city. You can call for all the sanctions. We can call for all the financial constraints and everything else, but there'll be very little response from NATO, the European Union, Western allies to support Ukraine realistically to make any difference whatsoever. Because since the Soviet Union collapsed, here and now Russia has moved into the 21st century in terms of warfare. Member McClintock mentioned cyber. The intelligence, the disinformation, the propaganda is all a blended sea of military campaign, and the Russians are exceptional at it. The Ukrainians, albeit they've had support over the number of the last 15 years, are nowhere near ready to fight the Russians, but they will do, and they'll do their best. And Mayor, just lastly, I have friends and I have colleagues who are there and I've been speaking with over the last number of days. Everyone will go and train and take up arms to fight in Donetsk, Luhansk, and indeed the Donbass region, because the separatists from the Russians have been fighting and have already incurred that border for several years, but no one in the West seemed to care. It's only now that it's made headline news, and Russians, this time with their Russian patches on their arms and not Russian separatists operating through proxy. And the last thing for me to say, Mr. Mayor, as I do stand in solidarity with them, is Slava Ukraina, Heroem Slava. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for that, Alderman McCready. Okay, Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, sir, for allowing me to speak on this. We all know what's going on. Russia has invaded Ukraine, but this really will lead to a massive exodus of Ukrainians seeking refuge in other parts of Europe. We here in Northern Ireland and in the Republic of Ireland opened our doors back in 1939 and 1940 to those fleeing dictator. I asked that this council to write to the ambassador of Ukraine in Dublin and the local consulate offering help for those refugees wishing to settle in this island. And could I make that as a proposal, please?
Okay, have you a seconder for that?
Happy to second there, Mayor Rachel.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Okay, members, once again, we have a proposal on the table. and just when it comes up. Thank you. Okay, members, anybody want to speak on the proposal on the table? Okay, members. Is there any dissenting voices? Anybody wishing to go against the proposal? Could you let me know now or on the chat box? Okay, members, no dissenting voices. The proposal from Councillor McKenny passes. Okay, members, moving on to Councillor Duffy. This is the last I'm taking on this, members.
Good Mayor, and happy to support the previous two proposals there. The world is looking on with increasing anxiety at the behaviour of Russia, the mounting prospect of full-scale war in the Ukraine, the potential for horrific loss of life, the clear breach of international law by Russia just simply can't stand, and sanctions are appropriate and are absolutely necessary. Significant targeted economic sanctions must be imposed on Russia. They must be directed not only at the Russian government, but at their oligarchs who are living in luxury in European capitals. However, sanctions alone will not resolve this crisis and help avoid a horrible conflict. We need to see a redoubling of diplomacy to ensure a peaceful resolution. Ireland, through our military neutrality and our place on the UN Security Council, is uniquely placed in Europe to put the case for an intensification of dialogue to overcome this point of the conflict and find a peaceful way forward. That should be the focus of the governments in the coming days, and we do as well stand in full solidarity with the Ukraine people at this time. Sorry, I muted myself. I'll just finish on that. We do stand in solidarity with the Ukraine people. What they're feeling at this time, it must be terrible. And we know that we have citizens in this city who have come from Ukraine, and we stand in solidarity with them. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Duffy. Okay, members, that brings the end of Chairperson's business. I'm going to move on to Agenda 6 now, members. It's the confirmation open minutes of the meeting held in Derry City and Strabane District Council held on Thursday, the 27th of January 2022. Pages 1 to pages 46 for accuracy.
Alderman Devaney.
Pardon, who was the proposer there?
Alderman Devaney.
Alderman Devaney, seconded by
Alderman Breslin.
Thank you, Alderman President. Okay, members, matters arising. Alderman Guy.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I just want to name Alderman Hussey as our representative on dealing with the past working group, if that's possible. Was asked to rename this month. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That's been noted, yeah? Yeah. Thank you, Alderman Guy. Councillor Barr, item 6C 36/22.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, all members will be familiar with the Noah Donoghue case, having passed 2 motions in support of the family previously. The PSNI have applied for a public interest immunity certificate, which, if granted, means they can hide 4 key files in the investigation of the Noah Donoghue case. This certificate is only used in exceptional circumstances, rarely used in the case of a missing child. This certificate is normally only used in cases of state security, police intelligence, or where informants have to be protected. Bear in mind, PSNI publicly stated before an inquest was held that foul play was not suspected in this case. Almost 300,000 people have signed a petition called on the files to be released, and hundreds will gather at PSNI headquarters in Belfast tomorrow, supporting Fiona Donoghue and our demands for the same. I ask that Council give their support of 2 previous motions. I ask that Council give their support on the quest for truth and transparency. And I want to make a proposal that this Council backs the demand for all files on the Noah Donoghue investigation to be released. Thank you, Mayor.
Just wait out there, Councillor Barr.
Councillor Gallagher, happy to second this.
Councillor Barra, I know every member here is fully supportive of that, but you only can bring in a proposal here for selection on that item on the last from the last minutes. I know the motions have went in the past, and this council is 110% fully supportive, but I'd be happy enough to take a proposal or a motion on that in the next meeting. Thank you.
Chair, Mayor, could I speak to this as well?
No.
Well, Mayor, look, the rally's
Excuse
tomorrow.
me, excuse me. Okay, Alderman, Councillor Ferguson.
Thank you, Mayor. C2022, reopening of council facilities. Mayor, I've been asked to raise an issue, I've been approached in regards to opening our leisure centres. Aquafit, Mayor, provided a great accessible programme for many of our older residents. At its peak, we had around about 80 older men and women attending frequently on a Thursday and a Friday. Some have been referred to attend Aqua Zumba, but find it strenuous to keep up with. So I'm hoping there with our services opening up and our goal to become an age-friendly city that we can restart this much loved programme if we can, Mayor. And Mayor, can I also nominate myself onto the Legacy Working Group as well, please? Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Ferguson. That's been noted. Also, Councillor Doyle. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm referring to C6/22, paragraph 6, page 5, and I wish to make the following proposal.
Few seconds to bring it up here. Go ahead, Alderman Hussey. Have you a second there?
Chair, I can second it. Alderman Kerrigan.
Okay, Alderman Curran.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm not going into debating the issue. It's simply asking for a referral to Rivers Agency and to appropriate council officer of the issue. And I'm making that proposal under Standing Order 16.2, whereby 16.2D, whereby a motion can be moved without notice to refer something to an appropriate body or individual. So I'm simply making that proposal. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, fellow Alderman Hussey. So members all agree with the proposal on the table. If there's anybody against it, could you let me know now or put on the chat box? Alderman Hussey, that proposal passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, members.
Councillor Hargan.
Hi, Mayor. Yes, that was just to nominate myself onto the Legacy Working Group. Thank you.
Thank you. That's been noted. So does Councillor O'Neill, C36/22.
Thanks, Mayor. It was just in relation to Dalradian, and it was just disappointing to see the Derry Chamber of Commerce in an event that they were running in Strabane, had invited a representative from Dalrady and Gold to the event. And you know, it was good to see fellow councillors here protesting that. I unfortunately couldn't make it as I was in work, but it's just disappointing to see again the Chamber of Commerce going against the council's position, which is clearly in opposition to the Dalrady and Gold Mine, because we don't want to put the health of people at risk for the wealth of a Canadian gold mining company. So just wanted to note that, because that's happened just in the last month. Thanks.
Okay, members, moving on. Councillor McGowan, C38/22.
Yes, Mayor, you will recall at the last meeting I brought forward a motion regarding Invest NI, and I'm very concerned this week. I've spoken to a number of companies in the last 3 or 4 weeks in this city who have been refused funding with Invest NI. There seems to be a complete meltdown of the organisation. They're unable to support companies that are currently in the city looking to create jobs. So it's widespread. It's not just new clients, it's existing clients who have come out of a long period of COVID. So it's with this urgency we really do need to get Invest NI to engage, and I know the motion's there, but I'm very concerned about the jobs that are being lost in this city, and we cannot afford that. I've spoken to the local regional manager of Invest NI as well about this. He said it was temporary, maybe to the end of January. We're now at the end of February and we're losing jobs by the day. So at a time when we can't afford to lose jobs in this city, it's just getting steadily worse. So I just wanted to put that on the record, that if we haven't already had Sir Michael Lyons in on council, we urgently need to get that, because we cannot afford to lose any more jobs in the city. We should possibly even write to the minister and seek an explanation. It's beyond a joke, and as I said, it's widespread. Any new business is not being root, and any existing companies that need support aren't getting it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councillor McGowan. Councillor Farrell, the same item.
Yes, please. Mayor, just to echo the sentiments of Councillor McGowan regarding the news this week that Invest NI have had to suspend some funding streams to startup companies, etc. It is clear that Invest NI is in crisis, and it's equally clear that the DUP, who have controlled the economic strategy of the North for the last 15 years, and who have controlled the policy arrangements for Invest NI for the last 15 years, are responsible for this crisis. We have massive concerns over Invest NI's performance in the Northwest, and this bombshell that funding streams to businesses has been suspended has done nothing to allay our concerns. And I have raised this repeatedly in this forum. Councillor McGowan speaks about, we have a meeting invitation to Sir Michael Lyons, who's chairing the independent review panel. There's a response in responses to motions saying that they're going to be in touch in due course. But what we are waiting for is a discussion with the economy minister. He has turned us down on numerous occasions. And I think at the last meeting, I had asked that we send a further meeting request, because he is just fobbing us off at every opportunity. So I would like to ask the Chief Executive, is there a response yet? Thank you.
Sorry, through you, I don't have any details of that today, Councillor Farrell. I shall endeavour to email members with regard to any follow-up that we receive, but I'm certainly not aware of any response having been received other than the previous one.
Through you, Mayor John, we did have received a response, and it's they've declined the invite, just to let you know.
Okay, thank you, members. Final speaker now is Councillor Gallagher on Agenda 7, Manager Rising. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting us in again, us on the same issue. And just to remind members in the chamber, like, that the corporate position as council is for the entire district. And when we talk about invest NI, maybe it's the lack of investment, particularly towns like Strabane. And when I hear members talking about the city, that they're just acting like a big brother, like Belfast does, and that we shouldn't get caught up in that trap, that we need to represent investment in the city. And when we talk about the parties at Stormont, again, it's nearly the same old story, that parties will take credit for everything and responsibility for nothing, and that the parties that have members in Stormont that are in this chamber need to tell Invest NI that they need to invest in the entire Northwest, because we can see that the disparities and the lack of investment in West versus East is quite stark, and that it needs to be addressed. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Gallagher, and thank you, members, for that. Moving on, members, to Agenda 8, the confirmation open minutes of the special meeting held in Derry City and Strabane District Council on Friday the 11th of February 2022. Okay, members, could I have a proposer or seconder?
So proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Seconder, members.
Mayor.
I think that was Alderman McClintock. Thank you. Okay, members, moving on to item agenda 9, the adoption open minutes in the following committees. The monthly governance strategic planning committee held on Tuesday the 1st of February 2022, pages 47 to pages 70 for accuracy.
I propose that.
Alderman Breslin proposed, and a seconder, members.
I'll second it, Councillor McKinley.
Thank you. Okay, members, matters arising on the governance strategic planning committee. Councillor Jackson. Councillor Jackson.
Apologies, Mayor. My computer screen froze there. It's on the 4-day working week, Mayor, and it's I suppose the report came on after a motion that I brought to council, and I just want to come on at this point and welcome the progress and the endorsement from the committee earlier this month, and they state that we look forward to the appointment of the external consultants, and they see how we as a council can take forward this pilot project. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to come in and welcome the progress that's been made on the 4-day working week. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Councillor Jackson. Alderman Devaney.
Sorry, Chair, I want to come in just on item 9B when you go on to the planning one. Sorry, 9B. I think I'm right to say that.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Okay, members, I see no more further speakers on the governance strategic planning. Members, moving on, the monthly planning committee held on Wednesday the 2nd of February 2022, pages 71 to 80 for accuracy. Could I have a proposer?
I propose.
I second that. Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, members. Okay, members, matters arising. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in. And it's an issue that I've raised before and around planning. And what it is, Mayor, is the issue and around the length of time it takes our statutory agencies consultations to be returned to our planning teams. You know, I have quite a number of planning applications on my portfolio, and every applicant that rings me about them, they blame the planners. But in lots of the cases, there's lots of these planning applications that are in the system for well over 2 years. And look, we just can't get the responses back from the statutory agencies. And look, at the end of the day, we as council and we as planners take it on the neck about it. But you know, I believe that you know there has to be some mechanism put in there to make these statutory agencies aware that lots of people are sitting out there waiting on applications to go through. Some of the businesses, some of the private houses, family homes. Look, it's a difficult time when you're an applicant, when you're stuck on that process. So I would just like an update or even a report back on how many applications are sitting over the 2-year period, waiting on responses back from the statutory agencies, Mayor. And I'm sure everyone will understand the concern around that.
Thank you, Fred Alderman. If any that's been noted from officers. Councillor McGowan.
Thank you, Mayor. On the 1st of February, the Northern Ireland Audit Office produced its Planning in Northern Ireland report. Mayor, I've read the report and it's quite shocking against all 11 councils. One of the findings within the report stated that processing times for the slowest council was more than 3 times that of the fastest council. Mayor, we have an ambitious plan for the city. That plan requires the city to have the ambition of the people trying to create housing, etc., for our citizens. That report is being considered by our party at the moment, and we're doing our own work on this. And it's not good, Mayor, for the city. It's not good for the people who require homes or jobs. So with that in mind, I hope that the council at a senior level are looking at that report. I'm looking forward to hearing their response on that. I've already seen responses from a number of other councils. Of course, people will say the statutory agencies are very slow to respond. That is true. It is said that within the report. However, times for large projects vary amongst the 11 councils, and in some occasions, as pointed out there, it's 3 times slower. We in this city and district need to be at the top of any chart which looks at that. So it's with that in mind that I hope that the report has been read by all members, and I believe we need to get planning right for this city. The last thing I'll say is I've consulted widely in the last number of months, and I haven't found a major developer that has been all positive about what we do in this city. And those issues are being researched by our party, and we will produce the findings of that to the senior management team in council. For the city deal to work, the city needs to move. Our plan is 15 years or 12 years, but it was developed the previous 5, out of date. We cannot be making major planning decisions on this city on a plan that is out of date, Mayor. That's all I wanted to say.
Thank you, Brad. Councillor McGowan, that's all been noted as well. Okay, members, moving on to the monthly Business Culture Committee held on Tuesday, 8th of February 2022, pages 81 to pages 102. For accuracy, could I have a proposer, please?
Chair, on accuracy.
Go ahead, Alderman, I'll say.
I note in the opening to the minutes that it doesn't record the non-members in attendance, and if you check through the actual minutes themselves, I'm one of those non-members who was in attendance. So it surprises me that it's not recorded. It may apply to other members as well. And there was also at the end of that meeting, when the meeting went into confidential, that non-members in attendance were excluded at that stage. Now that hasn't happened in any other committee. Could I have an assurance that that was an error and that it won't happen again? Thank you, Mayor.
I'll just bring Philip in here.
Yes, members, that was an error on that occasion. There are circumstances when we're dealing with quasi-judicial matters or something that non-members of the committee may be excluded. On this occasion, there was a simple confusion arose as to the nature of the item, and non-members were excluded when they shouldn't have been. So apologies to those members who were excluded on that occasion. That shouldn't happen again.
Appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey, and thank you, Philip, as well. Okay, members, moving back there to monthly business culture committee held on Tuesday, 8th of February 2022, pages 81 to 102. For accuracy, could I have a proposer, please?
I'll propose, Mayor, Councillor Farrell.
Thank you, Councillor Farrell. And a seconder, please.
Any?
Did you get that, seconder?
Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Okay, members, matters arising on business culture. Alderman Hussey, BC 31/22. Go ahead.
It's the update on Christmas market forward planning for 2022. Can I just welcome and thank officers for what is being developed with regard to the issue of rural markets in smaller settlements. And I know that Eglinton and Castlederg are included in forward planning there. And just to say this is very welcome and thank the officers for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. I'll say Councillor Hargan, BC 26/22.
Thank you, Mayor, for letting us in. Obviously, this was in regard to the protest that was held a couple of weekends ago in Derry, and I want to commend the Derry Against Fuel Poverty group that brought out a strong crowd to oppose the price hikes that people are facing, the energy hikes, the cost of living hikes. And it's very clear many people's lives are being thrown into chaos as a result of them, of these hikes. And I want to commend the Derry Against Fuel Poverty for going to Antrim today and protesting at the headquarters of Firmus Energy. As people will probably know, today is another day when yet another massive price hike has been announced by Firmus Energy. And I think for a lot of people, they are terrified of being thrown into destitution. And it's very clear to most people that that government action in terms of the cost of living crisis has been inadequate. There hasn't been enough funding put to help people. It's very clear that from the point of view of employers, especially energy companies, they're not assisting people enough. Employers are not awarding people decent pay raises so that they can cover their bills. So there's a real sense out there that not enough is being done, more needs to be done. And that's why these protests that are being held are very important, and they're going to spread because more people in more cities and towns have had enough of this. So I think that we as a council have to be doing everything we can. We can act. If Stormont isn't going to act, our council can lead the way. And that's why I want to bring this proposal to council, which is that I'll put it in the chat box. We have, as everybody knows, we have a COVID reserve of savings of money that we were given during the COVID pandemic of nearly £3 million. We've been told that this money is being kept for a rainy day. And for most people, or for many people, and for growing numbers of people, that rainy day has arrived. So our council now, I believe, has to lead on this, on taking action to protect people. I think we should put that £3 million into a hardship emergency fund, and we should then go and demand as a council that the Department for Communities match fund that and put in an additional £3 million. And then we should go as a council and demand that the energy companies and other big corporations, like retailers, also match fund so that we have a hardship emergency fund.
Councillor Hargan.
Can you let me finish my point?
No, can't let you finish. Councillor Hargan, I'm just looking here, and obviously this is a massive proposal you put forward.
So can you, Mayor, can you hold on 1 second?
No, can I speak? Can I speak?
Interrupt me.
Can I speak? No.
Well, I was speaking, and you've interrupted me.
Excuse me, I chair the meeting, I can't interrupt you.
Yeah, but you didn't let me finish my point. This is a
substantial motion. You can bring this motion forward.
You didn't let me finish my point. You've every right to speak, but you didn't let me finish my point.
Okay, members, thank you. Councillor Hargan, if you want to listen to me now, this is such a substantial motion. I'd be happy enough to take this forward to the next full council. If you could, I'd have been happy to take this as a motion. So if you'd like, I'd be bring it to the next full council in a motion. Thank you. Okay,
Point of order, Mayor.
Councillor Heaney, point of order. Who's that, Councillor Doyle?
Yep. I'm not speaking on behalf of Councillor Harkin, but I do believe this has been brought forward as a motion today, and I had sent it out to all members. So I hope you're not, just to clarify your rule, you're not ruling it out for later on when we're talking about this.
Okay, Mayor, will you bring in the city solicitor here on this?
Yeah, and just in relation to Councillor Doyle's specific point, no, it was not brought forward as a notice of motion in accordance with Council Standing Orders, Standing Order 16 in relation to the rules in and around the procedure by which a notice of motion has to be brought forward.
Thank you for helping once again. I'd be happy enough to take that forward as a motion next full council. Okay, members, moving on to Councillor Heaney. Councillor Heaney.
Thank you, Mayor. Just two items. Just want to note. I just want to note the significant note this council joins with Belfast and Newry Morning Down in taking legal action against Edwin Poots for breaking and breaching international law by instructing its officials to stop checks at the ports. Although the checks are currently continuing, this has only been delayed. This action by Edwin Poots could do huge damage to Foyle Port. So it is significant that the three councils that have ports are taking this action forward. And just briefly, Mayor, on the other item, I would just like to congratulate all involved, all council officers and all staff in the Illuminate Festival, which has been absolutely fantastic. Sadly impacted by the recent bad weather, but is set to continue, and it's been a fantastic job, and all the feedback is done. So I just wanted to do that as Chair of Business and Culture. Thanks, Mayor.
And totally agree on that one, Councillor Heaney. Well done to everybody behind it. Unfortunately, the weather is hampering it, but it's on the weekend again, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock Friday and Sunday. Councillor Hargan, BC 28/22.
Yeah, in the minutes there, it's we took a stand in support of the Education Welfare Officers strike, and I'm sure people have seen that they've been on strike again this week. They were on the picket line today and on Foyle Street, and they've been in a long fight for over a year now. And it is a very modest demand that they're making for pay parity. It's a very modest demand for a pay raise in the midst of a cost of living crisis that I think the vast majority of people can relate to. And so it's right that our council stands in solidarity with them. And they really appreciate it when councillors and whatever political parties, all political parties, turn up to stand with them. And as we all know, workers right across our society right now are being forced to take action because they can't keep up with the costs that they're facing. So I want to add to the committee recommendation there, which says that we stand in solidarity, that we also write to the Education Authority and that we write to the Education Minister, calling on them as a council to letting them know as a council that we back the Education Welfare Officer strike and that we call on them to end the dispute right now by agreeing to the demands that the Education Welfare Officers have brought forward. Thank you.
Okay, I see Councillor Fergus second that proposal, Councillor Hargan. Okay, members, there's a proposal. We'll just get it on the screen here. Alderman Hussey, do you want to come in there on a point of order?
The point of order isn't relative to this particular item. It's a general point of order if you want to deal with this first, Mayor.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Ferguson on the proposal. We'll come back to that. Alderman Hussey.
Yep, thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Councillor Harkin, for bringing this forward. I as well as Councillor Harkin was at the picket line with the education welfare officers today and last week. I think there has been a number of offers which is concerned them. I think the biggest concern for them is that they have quite a specialist role, which, you know, caters to therapeutic support for children. There's over 1,000 children on waiting lists at the moment just to be seen by an education welfare officer, and the Department of Education, the EA, are saying that they may just make their role generic and bring in specialists, 17 roles out of the 117 members of staff, 17 roles as specialists, which would put them under a lot more pressure. These are trained social workers who are being paid a lot less than social workers through the Department of Education. So I just wanted to put my voice to and say that I fully support the Education Welfare Office demand for pay parity, and hopefully we will get a resolution which isn't just 17 specialist roles when actually every single one of them has a specialist role. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Riley.
Thanks, Mayor, for bringing me in, and just to add our words of support for the amendment to the recommendation coming from the committee that's on before us today. Like as the previous speakers indicated, the people that are affected here are qualified social workers, and that becoming a qualified social worker is no easy feat. So it takes years of study and perseverance, and to go through all of that work and then to end up paid at a lower level below colleagues is completely unacceptable. You know, the strength of feeling among members was clear, with over 94% voting in favour of straight action. So we are in support of the recommendation that is being proposed here this afternoon. Thanks, Mayor.
Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in. Look, our party has no problem supporting the recommendation here and around pay parity for these workers. Look, you know, they deserve fair pay. Just to say that we're supportive of the recommendation. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Councillor Duffy.
Good Mayor, and likewise in terms of previous speakers, I'm happy to support the proposal in front of us. I've worked with EWOs over many years in my work role, and I really understand and value the work that they do, and it is a pay parity issue. I know many social workers who do equally the work that EWOs do, and for them to be paid less is scandalous in terms of the amount of work and the specialism that they be involved in within the school environment and stuff. So absolutely happy to support the proposal.
Thank you, Councillor Duffy. Okay, members, there's a proposal on the table. I'm not hearing dissentient voices on it. So anybody against it or looking to abstain, could you let me know now on the chat box? Okay, members, the proposal passes. Alderman Hussey, point of order.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to refer to standing orders 19.8 and 19.9. 19.9, member may raise a point of order. Member may raise a point of order and should be entitled to be heard immediately. Totally true. But, and I'm not just picking on Councillor Doyle on this occasion. Councillor Doyle did call a point of order, but like many others, he forgets about standing order 19.8. A point of order shall relate only to an alleged breach of a standing order or statutory provision, and the member shall specify, not may, but shall specify the standing order or provision, the way in which he or she considers it has been broken. You know, quite often we have folk will call a point of order, but they don't specify the particular standing order that they're referring to, and it is a requirement within standing orders. So it was just actually to point that out going forward, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Alderman Hussein. You're totally correct on that, and city solicitors here shaking his head agreeing with you on that one too. So members, moving on now to the monthly Environment and Regeneration Committee held on Wednesday, 9th of February 2022, pages 103 to 112 for accuracy. Could I have a proposer, please?
Proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Alderman Devaney. Second it.
Brian Tierney.
Thank you, Councillor Tierney. Okay, members, matters arising. Councillor O'Neill, ER 47/22.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. It was just in relation to my boy in a way. And many of us was at the my boy remediation stakeholder engagement session yesterday. And I was informed by stakeholders that a similar presentation on remediation options that happened a few years ago. So on that, I'm not sure we've progressed much further, but we'll wait and see. But in relation to my boy, I have had sight of correspondence from the European Commission, who've been examining the failures of the Northern Irish authorities to pursue plan and enforcement action against unauthorised developments like quarrying and landfills, despite having been informed of the existence of such unlawful developments. And the thing I want to highlight from this letter from the European Commission is the failure of the Department for Infrastructure to implement Recommendation 9 of the MOUT report from 8 years ago. And Recommendation 9, for anyone who's not familiar with it, states that for the DFI to make changes to the current plan and enforcement policy to no longer allow the granting of retrospective plan and permission for sand and gravel workings. So this inaction has massive environmental consequences, and the inaction from DFI on this, as the European Commission states in this letter, is completely at odds with European case law. And the question really does have to be asked of DFI why they have done nothing about it. And this is allowing quarries here to operate without planning permission. And as it says, it's got massive environmental implications. Locally, out of Kildogue Road, we've seen a badger set destroyed and a young forest ripped out. And really, a similar case the European Commission took up with the Republic of Ireland, and they're being fined €15,000 a day for this negligence. So I want to propose that we, as a council, write to DFI to ask them, you know, and with the clear position expressed by the European Commission, why they have done nothing to review Recommendation 9.
Yeah, thank you for that. Oh,
So it's just a letter, Mayor.
you're quick here, so you were 2 seconds. Just have a look at this and I see you have a seconder there anyway. Thank you. 2 seconds.
I know I can't actually share the correspondence because it is of a sensitive nature, unfortunately. But it was shared with me through the Fahan English.
Chair, can I come on for a second, just Chair? Councillor Mooney.
Yeah, just go.
I would be
Yeah,
just
crack on,
saying,
we'll
it's
just
just
have a
a
look at
comment really that would be probably beneficial if we had sight of the letter so we could see what it says, in order to maybe discuss it, you know. But I mean, we're going to be actually maybe actually making a decision on a proposal that we haven't had sight of a letter, and we can't really look at the letter's content, and especially in light of what Councillor Nita said, that the letter itself is maybe sensitive. I don't know what the sensitive nature of the letter is, but in light of that, you know, is there I don't want to take away from the motion, but I would rather the benefit of seeing such correspondence before I can make a determination on any motion. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, Councillor Mooney. Councillor O'Neill, I'd be in that way of thinking that where a full ad information was put out, I'd be happy enough to take it forward as a motion in the next full council. It's just that obviously you're sensitive here, but if you could get that out to members obviously before the next full council, and it's such a substantial motion there, I'd be happy enough to take that forward as a motion. So we'll do that in the next full council. You get that put forward. Okay, members. Moving on. Alderman Corrigan, ER 42/22.
Thank you very much, Mayor, for allowing me in. It's just in regards to a point that it raised at the time. It's it's the bilingual signage, and it's still in regards to one particular road. I know that it's kicked on a couple of times there, but I still have two homes who maintain they didn't receive the documentation, informing them of it. Now, I know that there's not many homes on that road in total compared to some of the other roads. And as I say, I know technically there are 4 residents in those homes, and they've expressed that they would not necessarily be supportive of the council's position. So it would have been the case that those additional ones there, it could have tipped the balance in regards to the outcome of the decision. So say I still have a query in regards to that particular road, Chair. So and as I say, I know Alderman Hussey has raised it and spoke on it before in regards to the roads, and it hasn't went down well in certain places. Mayor, there's no point in any different. But it is what it is, and I understand there's a policy there, but it's a bit of, there are certain individuals that complain plenty about flags and flag flying, and to be fair, there's a bit of this signage because it's very piecemeal. It's a bit of territory marking, and as has been raised with me, so. But as I say, it's in regard to that road, Mayor, and again, I would be concerned with that one. I just, I'll speak again to officers. I know it said there that we would have the correspondence after the meeting, and I haven't just got in touch with anybody. So I say whether we leave this or leave that one, but it's that one particular road, Chair, that I'm still querying, and I would still like a review on. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred Alderman Corrigan, and I think if you bring it up with the director of ENR, so they'll be happy to move things forward in that one. Claire, do you look at the come on there now? Yeah.
No, members, I'll follow that up with the officers and get back to Alderman Kerrigan as soon as possible.
Thank you, Fred Alderman Corrigan. Thank you, Fred Karen. Okay, members, Councillor Turney.
Chair, thank you. And I have no issue with what Alderman Kerrigan was raising there, but I think they compare legal Irish road signs or street naming going through a correct and proper process by this council. Comparing that with illegal flags that are flying on lampposts is stretching it a little bit. The Alderman may have concerns around whether or not these particular 2 houses got the correct information, but the reality is it was followed a correct process by this council, and comparing that to illegal flags hanging on lampposts is outrageous, in my opinion, to be quite honest with you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you, members. That wraps up ENR. Okay, members, moving on to the monthly Health and Communities Committee held on 1st to the 10th of February 2022. Pages 113 to 142. For accuracy, could I have a proposer, please?
Proposed, Alderman Devaney.
Alderman Devaney, seconded.
Second, Rachel.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. Okay, members, matters arising. Councillor Barr.
Thank you, Mayor. I tried to bring forward a proposal earlier in relation to No Down, Mayor. I think it may be relevant under this item. If you could just check with the city solicitor for me.
Yeah, I'll just push it back. I'm going to bring in Fulp here.
Chair, I wonder could Councillor Barr just confirm if he is referring, as he did in the chat box, to Health and Communities 33 of 22?
Yeah.
Because that appears relate to appointment of members to a task and finish working group.
Was it the impact of policing within communities working group?
Yeah, I think that item is restricted to to just nomination of members to that group. I think it would be difficult to bring a notice of motion in under that particular item. But with any respect, to do justice, to do justice to the particular item in question, it really is more appropriate that that's brought forward as a notice of motion.
Fair enough. That's fine. Thank you, Phil.
Okay, thank you for that, Councillor Barr. Councillor Doyle?
Yeah, it's on the same item, Mayor, just to nominate myself onto that group. Can I just say as well, Mayor, that I don't know if something has changed, but normally when there was a working group established previously, obviously I'm the only member for our party, I was automatically put on them rather than having to nominate myself onto all of them. So I'm happy for officers to continue just putting me on as our member. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Doyle. That's been noted. Councillor Donnelly?
Thank you, Chair. It's regards the update on the implementation of new legislation in relation to nicotine inhaling products and prohibition of smoking in cars when children are present. Chair, I've been approached by a number of parents and some community workers and regarding young children who are vaping. This seems to be a very significant problem in our district, and it crosses all divides here. I just want to bring it out into the open here. Some children have been caught in schools with vapes. Children have been in youth clubs, have been vaping, and I just want to know if there's anything the council can do to highlight this problem. I think there is some unscrupulous shop owners out there who are selling them to children, and there's teenagers who are actually supplying them at some youth clubs in the city. So I'm not sure if council officers, if there's any ideas there that we could do to bring this out and deal with it. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you for that, Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Donnelly, we will, officers will bring a report in due course on that. It's important, actually. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Hargan, that's been noted with us on that working group. And Councillor Ferguson?
Thanks, Mayor. No, it was just in reference to Councillor Donnelly's. I raised this about 2 years ago when we had a real spate of vaping, so I'd happy to see the report too of what we can do. Thank you.
Happy days. Thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Ferguson. Okay, members, that brings us an end to the open minutes of the following committee. So we're going to move now to confidential.